want to know the real reason you're so exhausted by dating? It's not the apps, it's not the modern culture, and it's not that there are no good people left. Let me tell you the number one thing I notice people say when they come to my coaching table. It usually sounds a little something like this. LeAnne, I found out this guy completely lied about his career. I found out he's still talking to his ex, practically still living there. Or if I'm working with a male client, he'll say, for example, she's a total workaholic. I really respect her career and the fact that she's in school, but I barely ever get to see her. She's just very unavailable. They have the conversation with the person, but the person's life does not slow down just by the nature of the person's life and their job. And it doesn't make that person a terrible person. It just makes them someone you cannot date at this time, unless you want to sit on the shelf until that person comes around and plucks you off the shelf. And when they have time at the end of the day, week, or month, they can have dinner with you. You gotta know when to walk away. You're getting too comfortable, too fast. You're going in fully loaded and saying, this person has got to be the one. I want to hold on. I'm going to hold on. No, these are strangers. If you know you're someone who gets easily attached, you have to exercise the muscle of learning to slow things down and allow yourself to feel that discomfort until you can build the muscle to not be swept away by your emotions and your needs to have that instant attachment to this person who is a stranger you're trying to get to know. So what happens is some people, they run themselves right into despair, anger, and deep cynicism, and then they retreat. They give up entirely. I've seen one single person have nearly a year's worth of a negative impact on a client, a coaching client, where they just completely took themselves out of the dating market and stopped pursuing their personal goals, their dating goals. The problem here is not dating. The problem is how long you are choosing to invest and what you are willing to tolerate after someone shows you exactly who they are. When a guy comes to me for coaching and says, I am looking for my wife, we go deep into what that actually looks like for him. I ask him, what is a wife to you? What are your negotiables and your non-negotiables? Why is this important to you? Why is having children important to you? How many do you want? Where do you want to live? How do you want to raise those children? We get straight to the root of why they are seeking marriage in the first place. And of course, there's more to it, but these are some basic quick questions. And I do the exact same thing with the women who come to me. But here is the tragedy. So many brilliant, high-achieving women and men cannot even get to their ultimate goal because they are completely hampered by one person or two or three that just wipes them out the rest of the year. One person they invested 2 to 10 months into, who actually told them or showed them at the very beginning exactly who they were. Let me give you a specific example of how to handle this, because you should not be getting to a third date with someone without performing basic due diligence. I'll use the example of this lady who found out the guy who lied about his career. I hear this all the time. When I was dating, before I got married, this was one of the major things I did among many things I did. If a person made a statement to me that was completely verifiable, I made a mental note of it. If they said, I'm a partner at a law firm, or I work for this specific company, or I belong to this organization, I didn't just blindly nod and hope for the best and wait for things to unfold for more information. I already knew that I was going to look up those companies, those schools, or that law firm later. I'm going to look in the company directory and see if your name is actually there. I might even call the company anonymously just to verify at that time. Good morning, may I speak to Joe Schmo? And if they say, I'm sorry, there's no Joe here, I might probe a little bit more. Oh, I'm sorry, I may have the wrong department. Is this acquisitions and litigations or mergers or whatever? Yes, but there is no one here by that name. I did more than that, but that's just one small example. Information gathered. Now, how does this look in actual conversation? Because you are absolutely not grilling them, interviewing them, or subjecting them to an interrogation, it's natural conversation getting to know someone. If a guy at that time told me I'm a level 4 engineer at a company, I'm going to keep the conversation light, warm, and natural. You just keep it light and natural. I might say something at that time, that's awesome. Do you really enjoy engineering? How long have you been doing that? And if he would say, oh, I've been doing this about 10 years, I might lean into that. Wow, you must really love what you do to stay at that same company for so long. And the conversation just flows naturally from there. Meanwhile, they would ask me absolutely anything about myself, and I would be completely transparent. It's getting to know you. That is what two people do when they're trying to get to know each other genuinely. It doesn't have to be an interrogation. You don't want to waste their time, and you certainly don't want them to waste yours. That's where you're getting exhausted. By the time the second or third conversation rolls around, at that time, I already had a full package of what I uncovered. And notice, this all happens within the first or second conversation before I had even gone out on a physical date with them. Do you know what the net result of that was for me? I was able to move on quickly. And guess what? That person never even knew. Everything I searched was completely public. There is no reasonable expectation of privacy when it comes to public directories, licenses, and corporate websites. Stop giving months of your life to a person who told you exactly who they were in week 1. Protect your timeline, verify public information, or go on to the government site and look up background checks and move on fast. This is the difference between being actively wise in your dating versus being anxious and letting it take you where they want you, the direction they want you to go. Doing your homework keeps you in the driver's seat of your own life and dating season. There is a massive trap in modern dating right now, and I see it at my coaching table every single day. People have completely overloaded their expectations of what a relationship is supposed to look like. They expect one single person to be their passionate lover, their spiritual anchor, their financial partner, their intellectual equal, and their built-in best friend. They are asking one human being to give them what an entire community used to provide their ancestors when we go way, way back. And you know what that does? It sets you up for a massive fall. I call this the perfection trap, the Harlequin romance trap, romance novels. We have ingested so many romance novels, some of you, so many media stories with the perfect sunset ending where someone sweeps in and lifts you off your feet and suddenly cures every ounce of despair, trouble, and trauma you've ever experienced. We buy into this myth that a partner is supposed to be an all-in-one answer to all of life's problems, the answer key. You think they are supposed to save you from the villains of your life, but it's a total myth. And when you fall for it, you land face first into the myth trap. Let me give you a classic example of how this trap sabotages your dating life in real time. I heard someone say recently, oh, I didn't really like his sense of humor. He didn't make me laugh enough on the date, so I'm not going out with him anymore. And my immediate thought was, are you looking for a husband or are you looking for a stand-up comedian? If you want to laugh with a specific type of humor, go to a comedy club. Go out with your girlfriends. Go watch a sitcom. A partner is not supposed to be an entire universe wrapped up in one body. They are human, just like you are not going to be a 10 out of 10 across every single category for him. He cannot be everything for you. When you focus so hard on demanding perfection in the immediate moment, you completely miss the entire focus of where you are actually going. You lose sight of the long-term vision. Life is filled with immense challenges. It's challenging when you're single. It's challenging when you're dating. It's challenging when you're in a relationship. And of course, it's going to be challenging when you're married. And then add kids, mortgage, deaths in the family, all kinds of things. You're worrying about somebody's humor? A great partner isn't someone who eliminates all challenges like a fairy tale. A great partner is someone who has the character, the transparency, and the alignment to walk through those challenges with you as a team member. Every single interaction you have in the early stages is not a final judgment on your soulmate status. It is simply a data point. You are observing, not owning. When you look at things as data points, you don't get emotionally destroyed by a bad conversation or a lack of immediate chemistry. You just look at the data, use your discernment, and decide whether to move forward or protect your time. So let's look at that example of the woman who wanted a comedian through the lens of data points. When you look at a guy on a first date who is a little quiet, or maybe his jokes aren't landing perfectly, that is just one single data point. It doesn't mean he's a bad person and boring, and it doesn't mean he wouldn't make an incredible supportive husband. It just means he's not a stand-up comic for you. But when you do your due diligence before the date and you find out a guy completely fabricated his job title or his living situation, that is a critical data point. That is a data point that speaks directly to his character, his honesty, and his stability. That is where your discernment has to kick in. You have to ask yourself, am I filtering for entertainment or am I filtering for character? When you start measuring the foundational data points instead of demanding superficial perfection, you stop getting stuck in the myth trap. You see the person clearly for who they are. You make your decision quickly and you protect your time. Now, let's look at another side of this, because the traditional way people set up dates is actually contributing to some of your burnouts. If the standard one-on-one dinner date feels like an intense, overwhelming, high-pressure interview for you, you have to be creative. You need to learn how to integrate dating into your actual life. Years ago, I worked with a young man who completely changed his approach to this. Instead of asking women out on a traditional high-pressure one-on-one date right away, he started inviting them to join him in things he was already planning to do and enjoy. And then he asked a woman, what do you typically like to do? Oh, you like to go to museums? If he was going to a book event and he knew she also had an interest in that, he'd invite her along. If he was organizing a beach bonfire with a group of friends, he would invite the woman to join the group. That was the dating phase. Think about the brilliant dynamic shift that happens here. By bringing her into an environment he was already comfortable in, he got to see how she naturally interacted with others while getting to know each other. It completely broke that intense, hyper-focused spotlight of a one-on-one dinner conversation where you feel like you're under a microscope. It felt natural, organic, and relaxed. And then, if the chemistry was there and the vibe was right, he would easily say, hey, let's go take a walk down the beach for a few minutes, leaving the group behind at the bonfire to have that deeper private connection. When you learn to integrate your dating life with your actual life, it stops feeling like a second job and starts feeling like a natural extension of your day. If you are already going to an art gallery, invite the person there. It's public and the pressure is off. You're staring at art. You're walking side by side and you're talking, or whatever interest you have. I just said art gallery. Instead of booking a 7 p.m. dinner that forces you to rush out of the office and shift your energy instantly, how can you invite someone into a lifestyle activity you already love? Let me leave you with a metaphor to really anchor this mindset shift. Because so many people hit a bad patch in dating and decide to just shut down their entire dating goal and their future goals of marriage, for example. If you have ever been to a bad movie, okay, a terrible restaurant, or went on a vacation that turned out to be a total disaster, did you stop going on trips entirely? Let's say you invested all this time, money, and emotion into your lifelong dream of going to Italy. You're excited. You finally get there and something terrible happens. Your luggage gets stolen, the weather is awful, and the accommodations are a mess. The taxi driver, Uber driver cheats you out of money. Do you come home and say, well, that's it, I'm never going to Italy again, and I'm never traveling for the rest of my life? Probably not, for most of you. Life doesn't just stop. Instead of quitting, you simply become more discerning. You become more aware. You sit back and ask yourself, what did I miss? What can I do differently next time I plan a trip? You take the lesson and you upgrade your strategy so you get exactly what you need on the next run. Think about people who go on girls' trips. We've all heard the stories or been in them where you go away for a weekend and come back thoroughly disgusted with the people you shared an Airbnb with because of their habits or the lack of space. Do you stop being friends with those people entirely? Not necessarily, no. Next time around, you just adjust the accommodations. You say, hey, love you guys, but next time we're booking a place where everyone has their own private space and their own bathroom. You learn to change, you adjust, and you adapt. You do not stop your life, and you certainly do not stop building deep, meaningful connections with other people just because one experience or two or three didn't match your standards. You adjust, you learn, you grow. Modern dating isn't broken. Your filtering process just needs an upgrade. Stop tolerating mismatches. Do your due diligence early. Integrate dates into your real life, and when a bad experience happens, don't quit the market. Just adjust the accommodations for the next one. I can't tell you how many people I've met over the years that I say, I don't feel like having a conversation. It's so exhausting having a conversation. Meanwhile, you're talking the cashier's ear off at your local market. Meanwhile, you're telling everybody that will listen on social media how horrible the date is, but you don't mind talking about that. You're expending all this energy about what went wrong. Take that energy and put it into a formula of where in this blueprint that I missed the mark. I'm tired of hearing myself say the same thing. I said the same thing last year, and I don't want to say the same thing next year. So you have to adjust, especially if you're someone out here who is dating specifically for marriage. Those are the people I'm primarily talking to. The people that are tired. They are exhausted. They are literally exhausted. They just want to go to work and come home. They don't even want to open up their laptop to go online on a dating site and type in a conversation, a message. That is the quickest and easiest way to dispatch with people that you're not connected to. Most of the coaching clients I've worked with over the years, if they go online, they're showing me their profile. They're showing me their profile, their pictures to show me how they present themselves. And they're also showing me the profile of the guy they're interested or the girl they're interested in. We do an adjustment. We make some edits to the profile. We change some pictures out. And then the next step is communicating. And I'm seeing some of these messages. When they give me permission, I see these messages. I'm looking at a paragraph where the person is having misspellings throughout the entire paragraph. Okay, one conversation after the other, as though English is not their first language. Now, of course, this isn't against someone where English is not their first language, but this is for someone to filter out someone who may be scamming them, especially women who get caught up in these romance scams and they end up sending money. I've not had one person like that, but we know that they exist. Especially if you're someone who really loves attention, who really loves validating. All that person has to do is get enough information about you. Oh, she likes going to jazz concerts. Oh, she's Christian. Oh, she believes in this charity. All of it, they agree. They believe in that charity too. Yes, I believe in saving the gorillas too. Yes, I love gorillas. Yes. What? You're a Christian? I'm a Christian. Let me pray with you. I'm a Christian too. Let me pray with you. Oh my God, he prayed with me. People can say anything. They are Oscar award-winning actors, especially if they're scammers. You're getting exhausted, some of you, because you're entertaining conversations and you're not asking enough questions, and you're also not reading between the lines. If this person, watch this. If this person says, yes, my name is so-and-so, and I have been, I'm just going to make this up, a lawyer. Okay, that's my favorite one because I met a lot of lawyers. So the guy says, I'm a Harvard graduate. Yes, I went to Harvard. My father was a judge. I come from a family of judges and attorneys. And you're going, wow, oh my goodness, that's great. Yes. So tell me how long you've been a lawyer. Oh, I've been a lawyer about 10 years. Oh, okay. And you want to move up in the organization, the law firm. You want to be partner one day? Yes, I want to be partner one day. That's what I'm looking for. And meanwhile, you're conversing with this person and they can't spell. They cannot spell. Okay. We're not talking about typos. that you, I, or any of us can make. Okay. We're talking about you're messaging with somebody and you started messaging, let's say at 2 o'clock. From 2 o'clock all the way off and on to 6 o'clock, you guys are checking in with each other. This person cannot spell. I mean, fragmented sentences, run-on sentences, words that don't make sense, each conversation, okay? That person's not a Harvard attorney. That person's lying to you, okay? Next, if you ferret that out, you just move on from that person. You don't have to say, oh, I noticed that you're misspelling words. You don't have to say anything. You already know that this is a person who is scamming, okay? So just delete and move on from that person. If you find someone who his language is, gee, I really think all your pictures are really sexy. And you're saying, well, how are you doing? How was your day? Do you like being a teacher? What grade do you teach? Oh, I teach 4th grade. That pink sweater you wore while you were out in Brazil, wasn't it kind of hot for that? You were in that sweater? Oh, it was the evening. It was a little cool. It was, a different season. It was a little cool there. Oh, but let me tell you, the way you fit that sweater, I couldn't get that off my mind all day. Delete, boom. That's not flattering. That person is laser focused. He is telling you that is where my mind is. And let's just say the person is clueless and he thinks it's normal to talk about how somebody fits in their sweater when they're trying to ask you questions about yourself. Are you wanting someone clueless for your future spouse and the father of your children if they're not able to understand social cues? So you move on. Just like that. You move on. You don't say, well, maybe he was nervous. Maybe he was shy. Maybe he thought that, maybe he really liked my sweater. Or maybe that's not what he meant. No, move on. And so third, if a person, you're online dating a person and the person, you say, can we meet on camera? I'd like to do some FaceTime with you. Some of these apps have video options. Make use of them. Before you go out on a date, make use of them. It'll tell you a lot. If the person does not want to meet you on camera, sure, that person may be shy. But let me tell you something. If they're inflexible and you're saying, I really feel more comfortable meeting like this. I feel comfortable meeting like this first before we go out to see, just how we mesh, how we vibe. I want to see you face to face. And the person's like, no, I don't want to do that. You say, okay, I understand that that's not what you do. So when you're ready, let me know. I'll talk to you another time. And you close that conversation out. And if that person comes back around again, so what are you doing? Are you ready for a video session? Are you ready for a video session? No, I'm not going to do a video session. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the conversation. You can close that person out. How much time do you think that actually takes? You haven't gone on one date yet. That's how you can quickly dispatch with people while you're communicating with them. You have to have a structure. You have to have a routine that you stick by. You only go on, if you're dating online, you only go online to check your messages at a specific time. Give yourself a window. You can say, when I get out of work, I'm usually settled by the time I finish making dinner, and by the time I have a shower, whatever your routine is, let's just say it's 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm going to check my messages from 7 to 7:30. That's it. Whatever your bandwidth is. Maybe it's 5 minutes, 7 to 7:05. Make it work for you. It doesn't have to be exhausting. You go check your messages. You filter out the ones that there's something off with them. You filter out the ones that popped in on a Monday and said, what are you doing? Or, hi, beautiful. Good morning, beautiful. You say, okay, that was Monday on the 23rd of I haven't heard from this person in several days. I sent him a message. He even answered a question. Delete, move on. That's not exhausting. Okay. You do far more things out there in the world that are exhausting, right? And some of you have really great exercise habits. You're working out. You are parking your car down the street from a restaurant that doesn't have parking, and there isn't parking in the neighborhood. You've got to walk. You're walking to that restaurant because they have great meals, or they've got great martinis or a great wine list. You're doing things out there. So you're not really getting exhausted. Okay. You're exhausting yourself. So you can do this differently. Just do it different